Internal Material Transfer Management. Our objectives for this section are as follows. After completing this lesson, you should be able to describe transfer order resources, explain internal material transfer planning and execution, review transfer order and associated shipments and receipts, describe orchestration of supply request for internal material transfers, review supply request for internal material transfers, and describe the supply chain orchestration rule setup. For our first topic, we'll describe how to create transfer requests from various sources. This diagram shows the transfer order sources. Transfer requests can be created from multiple sources. Transfer sources include min-max planning, back-to-back, spreadsheet upload, and planning. Other sources include entry of internal material transfers via the Manage Item Quantity UI, self-service procurement, IMT requisition lines, and supply request web service. A transfer order or purchase order can be created based on document generation rules. Supply chain orchestration document creation service creates transfer orders or purchase orders based on the transfer source setup. Our next section describes internal material transfer requisition lines. Self-service procurement has been integrated with Oracle Fusion Supply Chain Management to allow preparers to initiate the transfer of goods from one internal location to another. Internal material transfers originates in self-service procurement when a user manually creates requisition lines for items going to either an expense or to an inventory destination. Internal material transfer requisition lines can have a different approval routing from the purchasing requisition lines. Once the requisition is approved, requisition lines for internal material transfers are submitted to supply chain orchestration for orchestration and fulfillment. Similar to purchase orders associated to requisition line, users now have full visibility of the transfer order, shipments, and receipts directly from the Manage Requisitions task. They can also perform some minor updates and request cancellation or transfer of order lines. This section will describe how internal material transfers, otherwise abbreviated as IMT, eliminates manual intervention in the supply creation process. Supply chain orchestration eliminates manual intervention in the supply creation process. The following are some of the features. The Supply Execution Document Creation Rule allows the supply chain administrator to configure whether an internal material transfer should be executed using a transfer order or a purchase order. Supply Chain Orchestration provides two setups user interfaces. These are the Manage Execution Document Creation Rules and Manage Supply Order Enrichment Rule. These both allow you to enable the supply chain orchestration process. The Supply Orchestration Workbench provides visibility to the progress of supply creation. Also, the Supply Chain Operations Manager can view execution documents as well as the supply and demand details. And Supply Chain Orchestration also integrates with Supply Chain Financial Orchestration for transfer price and tax calculations. The Supply Creation Rules offers configurability to an organization to determine if an internal material transfer should be executed using a transfer order or a purchase order. During the supply creation process, a Supply Execution Document Creation Rules, if it is determined that the supply document should be a purchase order, the supply type of the internal material transfer request is updated to buy, and the supplier and supplier site associated to the source organization is used to create supply doc purchase request and the purchase order. The navigation to this area would be Setup and Maintenance, Manage Supply Execution Document Creation. The internal material transfer process offers organizations of shipments of items on an internal material transfer request through Oracle Fusion Order Management. This feature provides the Order Manager with capability to view transfer orders as well as regular on the Order Workbench. This capability enables the reprioritize shipments from the Order Workbench when needed. This screenshot shows how IMTs are orchestrated. All supply requests are orchestrated through supply chain orchestration. This screen depicts the submitting page. The user interface provides an overview of supply lines and their current status, including supply line error exceptions, jeopardy, and on track. Additionally, an analytic region is provided with a graphical representation of supply lines by the supply type. The navigation to this page would be then Supply Lines Overview. This screenshot illustrates that the Supply Orchestration Workbench provides a 360-degree view of demand and supply. The Supply Orchestration Workbench also provides visibility to the progress of supply creation. Users can take corrective action to address errors from the workbench. Additionally, execution documents, transfer orders, and purchase orders can be viewed from the workbench. The navigation to the screen would be Supply Orchestration, then Manage Supply Lines, and finally Supply Order Details. The Use Descriptive Flex Fields with Transfer Orders feature allows you to define the Manage Transfer Order task by adding descriptive flex fields. Descriptive flex fields support various reporting, labeling, compliance, and analytics requirements. For example, once transfer order descriptive flex fields are entered using the Manage Transfer Order task, interfacing systems can access these fields to support user-defined application transfer order REST resource. Descriptive flex fields with transfer orders are automatically available, and there is no opt-in option. Descriptive flex fields can be accessed by either navigating to the Edit Transfer Orders page, then information area in the Transfer Order header section, or opening a transfer order, navigating to the transfer order line or transfer order, and then clicking the icon in the additional information column. This slide shows a screen image of a transfer order, the additional information icon, and the additional information window for editing descriptive flex fields. Descriptive flex fields are automatically available, do not have an opt-in option, security privileges, or job roles to access them. However, some setup is still required. The setup task called Manage Inventory Descriptive Flex Fields is accessible from the Setup and Maintenance work area in the Manufacturing and Supply Chain Materials Management. The task is included in the Inventory Management functional area. The descriptive flex fields for transfer orders must be set up in the Manage Inventory Descriptive Flex Fields task before they can be used in the Manage Transfer Orders task. To set up the descriptive flex fields at the transfer order header, line, or distribution levels, search for transfer orders in the module search attributes in the same search area. Then, edit the header, line, or distribution levels and add the descriptive flex fields needed for the desired definitions. The Transfer Order REST resource helps address high priority and immediately needed gaps by developing and using user-defined applications. The REST resource provides read-only access to transfer order details at the header, link, and distribution line levels. User-defined applications that streamline an integration can be based on Oracle PaaS, external clouds, or on-premise, and can easily integrate with the Inventory Management Cloud. These resources include Fulfill, Visibility, Search and View, Source and Promise, and Reporting and Analytics. For example, transfer order descriptive flex fields can be created and entered on the transfer order using the Manage Transfer Orders task. The Transfer Order REST resource can then pull these user-defined transfer order descriptive flex field values into interfacing systems. Our next topic describes how to plan and execute internal material transfers. This diagram shows how you can plan internal material transfers. Transfer order is a document created in Oracle Inventory Management. It represents demand and supply in a single document. Transfer inter-organization and intra-organization transfers. Additionally, support is provided to pick, ship, receive, deliver, and return against a transfer order document. Full visibility is provided to shipments and receipts associated with a transfer order. A transfer order can be edited by updating attributes such as source organization, requested delivery date, and requested quantity. Here, we see how attributes such as source organization, requested delivery date can be updated on the transfer order. Warehouse managers can monitor the line status, fulfillment status, and interface status. Additionally, the transfer price and associated tax is displayed on the Edit Transfer Order page. You can search for transfer orders by using the Supply Request References search field. This aligns field orchestration and inventory management to identify transfer orders based on the source of the transfer order and allows you to view the supply request reference and reference line number in the search results. For internal material transfer, you can use the destination organization as the customer. This allows you to use the inventory organization as a customer when shipping. This capability is also supported by SOAP and REST services and consistently applies types originating from all sources. This screen shows how warehouse managers can view shipments and receipt details associated with a transfer order. The table columns Shipment and Receipt provides links to view the associated shipments and receipt. You can view discrepancies between shipments and receipts for a specific transfer order. To access this page, you navigate to Supply Chain Execution, Manage Transfer Orders, then View Shipments and Receipts. This screenshot shows that if receiving is required upon shipping a transfer order, the receiving system provides a number of different ways of receiving the item. The first is self-service receiving as shown. Self-service receiving can only be used when receiving transfer orders sourced from requisition lines. The self-service receiving UIs allow shipments by the requester or preparer of the associated requisition. If multiple accounting distributions exist on a transfer order line, then receiving transactions are performed, similar to the way transactions against purchase order documents are entered. In order to use self-service receiving UIs for transfer orders, the receipt routing must be sent to using a direct routing method. Warehouse also allow receipt of requisition source transfer orders. These UIs allow viewing and entry of receipts and puts away transactions for individual accounting distribution at the line associated with transfer order lines. Here we see a plan and execute IMTs. The Manage Inter-Organization Parameters and Manage Inter-Subinventory Parameters set up to configure parameters for transferring material between two organizations or between two subinventories within an organization. Consider the following parameters. The transfer type parameter is used to identify whether an inventory destination transfer should be considered received at the time of shipping or whether it will go in transit and be received manually. The receipt routing is used to determine how the receipt will be managed in receiving when a receipt is required. There are two receipt routing parameters, one for inventory destination transfers and a separate parameter for expense destination transfers. The transfer order required indicator is only used by the create inter-organization transfer task to identify whether or not a transfer from a given from and to organization requires the use of a transfer order. The receipt required parameter is used to identify whether or not expense destination is receipt at the destination location. Practices have been included to enhance your learning. In Practice 15-1, you will review a transfer order and transfer order details such as source organization, destination organization, and requested quantity. Additionally, you will review the shipment and receipts associated with the transfer order. In Practice 15-2, you will review the internal material transfer setup, including the inter-org integration. But before we get into our practices, let's review the content for this chapter. In this lesson, we should now have learned the following: how to describe transfer order sources, explain internal material transfer planning and execution,